Hi friends, out here in the rabbit tree on a beautiful sunshiny wintry day ready for spring to start. This is Boots. This is Millie's sister. They look really similar to each other. The big difference is that Boots has dark feet and she is a very gentle giant. We will be breeding her, and Millie and Sandy and Puss and Myrtle. We will be breeding all 5 of them here in about a week and a half. The other reason we're out here in the barn this morning is so I can give you an update on the little baby kits that we've been showing you the last couple of weeks. Today is day 14 for Nala's kits. So these little ones are 14 days old. Actually, when we came out here this morning to feed everybody, a couple of the kits had jumped out of the nest box. We call it popcorn. They'd popcorned out of the nest box. We call them escapees when they do that. There they are, all snuggled in there. Look at how big they are getting. Look at that. Compared to the first time when they fit so neatly in my hand. Yeah. Look at that. Oh, aren't you cute? And you can see their eyes are open. Well, maybe not so much because I woke this one up for its nap. We've got a gray silver one in here. Say hi to everybody. Cutie. And then the rest of them are pretty much just black. Hi there. Hi, sweetheart. And I've got the scale right here. We'll weigh this one and see where it's at weight-wise. See how much they're growing. All right. There we go. You ready to get in that cold scale? Not so much, huh? There you go, sweetheart. Wow, 9.3. It's almost doubled its weight from a week ago. They grow fast at this age. And like I said, their eyes are open, their ears are open. They will startle now if they hear a big noise. I've been tossing some kibble in the nest box for them so they can begin to learn to nibble on the rabbit food, and they also are nibbling on the hay that's in there as well. Here in the next few days, they're going to start to venture outside of the nest box on a regular basis. And when that is happening, we turn the nest box on its side so that they can be out and be exploring the rest of the hutch, but then also have a safe, warm place to go back to when they just want to relax. So day 14, they are getting big. They'll be a pound in weight probably, maybe next week, maybe the following week, but they're doing good. They're growing well. Thank you, little buns. Buns are getting big, aren't they? Their personalities are starting to come out, and it won't be too much longer. We will be weaning them from mama. Well, let's turn our attention to the focus of today's Farmhouse Friday, and that is tooth powder. Tooth powder? What's tooth powder? Maybe you've never heard of tooth powder. Well, before I explain about it, I want to say that I am not a medical professional. I have no medical training whatsoever, and I have no dental training whatsoever. What I've learned, I've done my own research out there on the internet, and I would strongly encourage you to do that also. So when I began my journey, probably 10-12 years ago, to live life simpler and more naturally, I kept running across articles where people were using tooth powder to maintain the health of their teeth instead of traditional toothpaste. And so I did my research back in the day and learned that there's a lot to be said for using tooth powder. So just before I did this video, I did a little bit more research so I could be current and up to date for you. And I'm just quickly going to go through some pros and cons of tooth powder versus traditional toothpaste. So traditional toothpaste is really easy to use. You unscrew the top, squeeze a little bit out on your toothbrush, and go to town cleaning up your teeth. Probably the biggest decision to be made is, do you squeeze from the top or from the bottom? And you take that up with your husband or wife and figure out what works for the two of you. Traditional toothpaste does clean and polish your teeth very effectively, and it is American Dental Association recommended. Cons of traditional toothpaste are that it contains fluoride, which is poisonous when swallowed, and there is conflicting research out there on fluoride. So again, you do your own research and figure out what works best for you and for your family. So the pros of tooth powder. Believe it or not, tooth powder is more effective at removing plaque than traditional toothpaste. A bunch of studies out there that have come to that conclusion. Tooth powder is composed of natural and sometimes also organic ingredients. I can spell them, I can say them. There is no fluoride, so it's non-toxic, it's safe for children. Some of the cons for tooth powder is that it's not as convenient. I can't just squeeze it on my toothbrush and start brushing. I have to dip my toothbrush into the powder, load my toothbrush up with the powder, and then start brushing away. I decided to divide my mouth, my teeth, into 4 areas, and for each of those different areas I dip my brush into the tooth powder again with a fresh loading of tooth powder. And then, you know, when I first started using it, it tasted weird. The texture was really funky. I'd never encountered anything like that. But it wasn't anything that I couldn't learn to live with and be okay with, and I have over time. And I think I've shared this story before. Chris and I had gone someplace and I forgot to take my tooth powder with me. We were staying overnight and I went to go brush my teeth and had to use his toothpaste, and oh my gosh, the taste and the smell gagged me. I vowed right then and there I would not ever go someplace without my tooth powder again. So, down to the ingredients. Pretty simple. May not have a few of them around your house, but natural food store or Amazon, you could easily pick up the few ingredients that you don't have. And yeah, you would have initial outlay of cash to get them purchased, but they have lasted me a really, really long time. We're talking years again, just like the dry wooler balls. Yeah. They have lasted me a long time. So the first ingredient that we have is bentonite clay, and this is a clay that binds to toxins and helps to eliminate any mercury that might be off-putting from any mercury fillings that you have in your mouth. It also has magnesium, calcium, and silica, which are all nourishing to teeth. Baking soda. This also contains minerals and is gently abrasive, so it helps to remove stains. A calcium powder. This provides calcium to your teeth and it helps to whiten the teeth. Ground cloves, of course, adds flavor. It is also naturally antibacterial and anti-inflammatory. And cinnamon is also antibacterial and adds flavor to the powder. Mint was an ingredient, dried mint was an ingredient that was recommended from the original recipe, but I don't use that. I'm not a big fan of the mint flavor, but that's definitely something you could add if you wanted to. And then xylitol as a sweetener. Some people prefer to use stevia. Final ingredient, which you can use or not use, is essential oils. I decided to go with the ground cinnamon and ground cloves because they're less costly than essential oils. But you could use spearmint, you could use peppermint, there's clove essential oil, so whatever works for you. So let's go ahead and put this recipe together, and I will tell you that I found the original recipe on a website called Wellness Mama, Wellness Mama many years ago. And so the original recipe is hers, but I have tweaked it a little bit to my needs and to my taste. So like I said, I do not use the mint. The first ingredient that goes in here is the bentonite clay. And I am making a double recipe, so I will need a half cup of the clay. There we go. And then my next ingredient that I need is the calcium powder, and I need 3 tablespoons, so I really need 6 tablespoons of this. Then I need baking soda. And the original recipe called for a tablespoon of baking soda, but I found that too abrasive on my gums, so I use about a teaspoon of baking soda. Since I am doubling the recipe, I'm just going to eyeball it 2 teaspoons with my tablespoon measure here. There we go. And then cinnamon. Teaspoon here. Calls for a half teaspoon for a normal batch, but since I'm doubling, I put a full teaspoon in there. And then cloves. 1 to 3 teaspoons, as taste. So since I'm doubling, I'm going to go ahead and do 2 teaspoons. I don't like really strong flavored toothpaste, so I use less rather than more. And then the xylitol powder. And the original recipe called for 1 tablespoon, but I don't like it that sweet, so I just use a teaspoon. And again, since I'm doubling the recipe, I will use 2 teaspoons. And then it's just as simple as mixing that all up. Look for any clumps in any of your cloves or baking soda or bentonite clay, and break them up with your whisk. Oh, that smells good. Cloves and cinnamon, yum. It's that easy. And then I have my jars here and my funnel. And I will split this between the 2 jars. My lids, and I will put labels on them. I don't have them here in front of me right now, and these will be good for several months. I imagine probably 3 months a jar is what these will last me. So what about you? What have you tried to live life more simply and more naturally? I would love to hear your ideas because I'm always looking for new ones. Put a comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. If you have questions, just let me know. I'll be happy to help you. Thank you for joining me, friends. And remember, if you have faith as small as a mustard seed, mountains can be moved. God bless.